For the last 20 years, Buffalo Field Campaign has done an annual roadshow in cities around America and all over the world. This year, due to the coronavirus, we were unable to do this, so we've created an unedited live video of our roadshow. Now, some of the shots may seem that the buffalo are rather close to us, and we'd like to tell you that we started the shot with them at a safe and appropriate distance, but they came right up to us. We'd like to tell you, if you do come to the Yellowstone ecosystem, that these are wild buffalo and deserve at least a 30 to 50-yard distance between you and them.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2020 or 2020 Buffalo Field Campaign Virtual Roadshow here in Yellowstone Park amongst our favorite four-leggeds, the buffalo. My name is Mignon Geli, and I've been on the roadshow. This will be my 8th year, and happy to perform a song called Stampede, which I composed, and this is dedicated to the buffalo. Okay, thank you. I'd like to introduce our fearless leader of the Buffalo Field Campaign. He is the co-founder of the Buffalo Field Campaign, along with Lakota elder Rosalie Little Thunder back in 1997. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Mike Mease, Buffalo Field Campaign.
Hey, nice mask.
Nice mask.
All right. Welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, Mignon. What
Welcome.
a gift. Well, thank you all for tuning in to this beautiful day. There used to be 30 to 60 million of these sacred beings that roam continent North America. And they took care of the land. They took care of the people. Millions of Native Americans were dependent on these until the conquerors came over. Then they realized that they could never defeat these mighty people and that they wanted to eliminate the Native Americans and take over all their land, they had to remove these sacred beings, the buffalo. And as the onslaught marched west, they killed from what was guesstimated to be 30 to 60 million, these animals down to 23 animals. And they were found just over these mountains over here in a place that's now known as Pelican Valley. And at first, the U.S. Cavalry was sent out to stand guard around these 23 animals so that poachers would never take them away from us. And they stood there and held the ground and kept them alive. And finally, Yellowstone National Park was created. And originally, to give these beautiful species a land, a home, a place to be safe from poachers and killers. And here we are, 130 years later, and these buffaloes still have no rights. They were given a disease by cattle called brucellosis, and that is the justification for zero tolerance of these sacred beings to never leave Yellowstone National Park. This disease came from cows and has never been transmitted in a wild setting from buffalo to cows, and yet to date, almost 13,000 buffalo have been killed in the name of brucellosis protection. The ironic twist is that the elk have this disease as well. The elk have transmitted it, and they do nothing to stop these elk from leaving and spreading the disease. Another very important thing to understand about the buffalo is that these are the purebred buffalo. That in the United States currently, there's 600,000 buffalo in every state in the United States, all over the world. But all but less than 10,000 of those are what we call beefalo. They're mixed with the cattle bovine gene, and you can't physically tell the difference. But the herd knowledge, the wisdom of these animals is pure and true, and they know how to live in harmony with the earth. And that's why the Buffalo Field Campaign has taken such stringent lengths to fight for these buffalo, to have all the same rights as all our other wildlife, to wander our national forest, to wander our public land, to restore the earth. I mean, these guys have a gift that would save us from global warming. These guys heal the earth as they walk, and they could bring this place back to the original soil to be the true filter system it is for carbon. And that's one gift that they give. So right now, I'd like to take you into one of the most amazing times the buffalo have every year, and that is the mating season, or the rut. And here I will take you to the last original buffalo, the central herd, the survivors, the only ones that made it through the mass slaughter of the turn of the century. So here it is, the buffalo rut. So that was quite an amazing video, huh? These are quite magnificent species, and that's why we fight for them to be able to be around here. Buffalo Field Campaign is starting our 24th year in a row of being in the field with these animals all season. In the fall time, here in about a month, we start our field patrols mid-November, and that's because the hunt of the buffalo starts, where essentially hunters wait at the edge of the border and shoot all that walk across it. And also, they have a capture facility run with all our taxpayer dollars to capture and ship buffalo to slaughterhouses. Now this goes on until through March, and finally it kind of slows down. And then they start to migrate out, and they don't want them out on the national forest because of the state of Montana's zero tolerance policy. And so they do what they call hazing, and they forcefully push the buffalo either across the river to habitat they're allowed to be on, or sometimes up to 17 miles all the way back inside Yellowstone National Park. So the work that we do in the field, we document all migration patterns, we videotape everything that's ever done to them, and we also keep a database of migration of where all these animals go. And that in turns into evidence, which we use in lawsuits to shut this down. We're going for an endangered species listing to get these buffalo listed as an endangered species. What started that in November of 2014, and we're won a couple cases in court, but the minimum time that takes is 8 years. And that's how long it'll take to get these guys everlasting protections. So the Buffalo Field Campaign works on many fronts, but we also honor and respect we would never be able to do this without your help and your involvement. So we thank and honor you, and so do these guys. At this point of our program, I'd like to bring back on my sister Mignon, and she's going to play you another beautiful flute song and serenade these sacred buffalo. Of course, social distancing is needed, and here she is.
Thank you, Mike. Another song dedicated to the buffalo.
thank you, Mignon. That was a beautiful song as always. And of course, the buffalo gave us a dance while it was going on. So this is our famous buffaloon. This has been with us since 2003. It has flown on the courthouse steps of our state capitol, of this capital of Washington, D.C. It's been at farmers markets. We take it everywhere. It's a tad bit sensationalistic, but that's how we get people to come. Not to mention this thing is a kid magnet. So behind me on the other side is our main cabin. In this part of the video, we're going to talk to you a little bit about how you can help. And we start out with volunteering. To date, we've had over 6,000 volunteers, someone from every state in the United States, countries as far as Israel, Australia, all over Europe. And they come here to be part of our family. And with that, I'd like to take you up to the house and kind of show you around. Be careful on these old steps on the way up. So this is our porch. On the porch we have trash and all our recycling. We also have a tad bit of wood ready for the winter, as you see everywhere around here. Come on into the foyer. So in here we have our ski rack, and this is how we get around all winter long to get out there and protect the buffalo. We have this space so that they dry out at night. All the snow and ice melt off them, so they're good to go in the morning. We have a free box that is always filled with all kinds of treats. Now this room we playfully call the post office, because when we started this we only had this one cabin and this was our office as well. So this is where volunteers come, and they have their own private bunks here, and we left this room wide open on the bottom so that people could play instruments and have fun, have a socializing space. And we also have the state-of-the-art giant TV, but with it a dinosaur realm of old movies. We have VHS and DVD, and they still work. So we'll walk on out to see the rest of the house. Now, this room we're going into now is called Siberia because it's the one room that does not have any heat source. So come on in. So here we have a few more bunks that people can live in. And you can see we're in summer mode right now, so we still have our newsletters, which we produce annually, and our calendars, all of which we're going to distribute and help spread the word. Up above me, you can see our great ally and supporter from our inception in '97 is the company Patagonia. They supply us with incredible gear, financial donations, and everything, and they have supported us since 1997 when we started this. You can also see ski boots and other boots. We have everything that any volunteer could ever possibly need to be out in these frigid temperatures we have here in Montana in the winter. We do encourage people to bring their own stuff, but obviously if you don't have it or you can't get it, we got you covered. Come on in here. Now this is our main room, our main meeting room where we sit every night. And in this room we have a never-ending memory of the other co-founder, myself and Rosalie Little Thunder, who passed away 6 years ago. But not a day goes by that we don't remember her and honor her for helping get all this started. So every night we have our meeting in here, and we also orientate people. This is a map of where we are. We live right up here, but these are all the regions that we patrol to make sure the buffalo are safe or we're out there with them. We also have nightly meetings in which we sign up for patrols, talk about what we saw the night before or the day before, kind of decide who's going where and what we're doing, and sign it all up for every day's night's activities. We also have all our meals in here. And luckily enough, we have an incredible cook that takes care of us from November until the end of May. And we basically have a smorgasbord, or a buffet style dinner. You come over here, you grab your plate, your silverware, your cups, whatever you need, and head on down the assembly line. So a lot of people ask me throughout the years, man, you have a lot of diverse people. They're not just one kind of person. We have all walks of life, all people, all ages, all groups, family units. How do you get them to work together? And this is the never-ending memory of why we're here. This is our altar. And in this place, everyone is here for something bigger than them. Something that's for our children's future, that outweighs any of our petty needs. And so whenever we have disputes or whatever, we have this reminder that we're here for the buffalo, not our individual selves. So that is that. And then we have another room that we actually have more bunk space and places people can see or sleep and stay. And it's called the map room. As you can see, our old map is still here. And then we move on in to our more industrial side of ourselves. And this is our industrial kitchen. You can see the world's biggest wok up here that actually gets used. Our cooks are unbelievable. And they cater to an unbelievable plethora of dietary needs, mainly vegan. We accommodate all meals to be that. We also have every other diet that has occurred in my lifetime recently. And we also cater to native peoples and ourselves who do eat meat. We only allow locally harvested wild game or fish from our rivers and streams. We do not support factory farms, any cheese products, or anything that involves torture for us to eat. But we live and work together, and we're all diverse, and that's what makes us strong. And we don't all have to eat the same thing or think the same way, because in the buffalo world, we all matter. The last thing I'd like to show you in this house is, you probably won't believe it, in these boonies, we have laundries, bathrooms, showers, toilets, all the modern conveniences that you might have at your home, back home. Come on with me. Let's walk on out to where everything happens, and this is the media center. Watch your step on the way up. We got a little tricky one. So this is it. This is our media cabin where everything happens, and where mainly all of our coordinators work to make us be able to do everything we do. This space is unoccupied at the moment because our media coordinator is away, and she only comes for the 6 months we're in the field. Right next to her setup, we have my setup, and this is Video World, where I do video editing and basically show the world what we see. Next to me, we have our bookkeeper and grant writer who works in this little space. And then we have our hardest working one of us all, and that's our office coordinator, and she sits at this desk. She answers every email you write, every snail mail, she fills the merchandise orders, she does everything, and she keeps up the long tradition that I demanded when I helped start this organization, and that is, any person that ever gives us anything gets a handwritten note from us thanking them for their contribution, because we will never forget. We would never be here without the generosity of all of you. So I thank you, and believe me, we'll never forget it. And you are a very important part of our family. Next, we're talking about different ways you can support the organization, and we happen to have a little bit of merchandise. Over here we have 4 different stickers, which are all for sale on our website. You've been enjoying the beautiful Mignon's music. Well, this is one of her CDs we actually sell on our website as well. We have a couple books we sell, a kid's book, and then of course one of my best friends in the world, Danny Brister, who wrote this book back when he worked for us for over 15 years. Unfortunately, he now has started a family and is about to graduate from law school, but that's when we know we'll get him back to be yet another incredible ally for these sacred buffalo. This, we'd like to get people to quit using plastic bags and throwing them away, because where do they end up? In our oceans, in our streams, in our waters. So we produce this pretty heavy-duty, big canvas bag with our logo on it, with real sturdy straps, so you can actually use them, and they are practical. The last couple things that we have for sale here is this t-shirt that I'm wearing is for sale. We also have a few of our logo in two different colors. We have the brown one with our logo, and they have the usual t-shirt tight collar. And then we also have the unisex V-cuts for people that like that kind. So obviously, those are one way you can support us, but probably one of the most important ways is by sharing this video you're watching, to spread the word, to save the herd in that realm. If you're willing to have a showing to a few friends or to classrooms or however we can do it in today's world, we're more than happy to zoom in and answer questions after you show this. Another thing, we will send you at any request our annual newsletters, which we produce once a year, and that basically we ask people to take them out to their coffee shops, doctors or offices, grocery stores, anywhere, and put a little stack and help, as we like to say, spread the word to save the herd. We also online have petitions to support our endangered species listing and many other things that we're involved with. We have weekly updates that you can sign up for on our website. And we'd also love if people would follow us on Facebook and share this out and everything we do. You can also do all the other high-tech fancy things, Instagram, Twitter, so help us in any way you can. But as I like to say, without your help, we would never be here, and we never forget it. And the last thing I'd like to kind of put into people's mind is the historical time that we've been here. And this cabin, when we first got it, we had to put all this ugly styrofoam insulation up. And at the time, we had 4 or 5 young kids here that were with us volunteering. And these kids, we had paint and decorate and make all these beautiful art pieces for us. And, you know, now these kids are no longer kids. Jaffe and Amber just graduated from college, and people are growing up. So that just tells you how long we've been here, how many people are part of us, and how many people will never quit doing this until the buffalo roam free. Come on in and have a seat by the campfire. I'm going to light a little smudge before we get into the next session. This is sweetgrass from the Blackfeet Reservation. It's a way people pray and send their thoughts and prayers up to the heavens to their past sisters and brothers, ancestors, relatives. And it's a way I like to start before I talk about things that are sacred. As I've told you, myself and Rosalie Little Thunder had the honor of starting this, and she passed away 7 years ago. But something I hold into my heart that keeps me strong every day and keeps me on this path and keep fighting is when we first met, she said, "Mike, I want to tell you that I come from a nation that calls itself Tatanko Oyate. And the closest that translates to your language is, I come from the Buffalo Nation. And these animals that you choose to protect and are so drawn to are not animals to me and my people. They're our relatives, and that's how sacred they are." And all the tribes, especially in the plains, have a relation, a story. And my brother Jimmy St. Godard gave me this vest from the Blackfeet Nation. And he told me the name of the buffalo in his language in Blackfeet is Aniwa. And Aniwa translates into our language as everything. Think of that concept, that one animal could mean everything to a whole nation of people. And it's this path that we go down that has to be with their footsteps involved, because they have these relationships. And throughout the years, I've had the honor, and now he's our executive director, James Holt, who looked into getting his treaties recognized by the state and federal government to be involved with this buffalo issue. And currently, they're kind of having to kill the buffalo in the way that this plan is managed. And it really is a thing that needs to be changed. And that if we can get these treaty rights recognized, and now some of them are starting on their 8th year of hunting, we can use those treaty rights to turn around, sue the government over this ridiculous management plan that really, the way it's set up, is an insult to the treaty hunt that is taking place today. The buffalo also teach us about coming together in unity. And I think that they've done more to help us than we'll ever know. And they're continuing to want to give us that gift, but we won't accept it. Currently, this government management plan is run at the basically direction of the livestock industry. And the Department of Livestock, not only not having any education in wildlife biology or wildlife management, are in charge of this whole lush ecosystem. And when they go out to kill the buffalo, and when they go out to manage the buffalo, when they use their sense of ranching mentality to govern these buffalo, we're down the road to make sure this will never work. And that's part of our work too, is to remove the Department of Livestock from the equation so that science and logic and real rationale govern these sacred buffalo and not the cattle industry. So it was after our 15th year that it was a really hard year. I believe they killed like 1,600 buffalo. It was just horrible. And we came home that summer when the season was over, and it was like July 2nd. And I really was going through a lot of self-reflection and just asking questions, you know. I've been doing this 15 years. They're still killing the buffalo. Is anything going to change? Is our work working? Do the buffalo even know that we're doing something for them? And July is a time when all the buffalo head back into Yellowstone, and they're in that rut like the footage you watched earlier. And that's the one time that the whole family, all the buffalo, gather. And so while I was sitting on my porch, kind of in a state of a little bit of depression, a buffalo came from over the hill, dropped into our yard, came up to my house. And it's kind of ironic. For 12 and a half years, I lived year-round in a teepee up on the hill. Of course, all my native friends used to tease me and say, hey, we'd have enough sense to migrate out of this ecosystem during the winters. I was like, yeah, but I kind of cheat. I got a giant wood stove, and so I got an advantage. But I guess as I got older and I realized maybe we weren't going to solve this issue as quick as I thought, I moved into a cabin. So of all the places in the entire Yellowstone ecosystem that this buffalo could have gone, he walked right up to my yard, around to the side of my cabin, bedded down outside my kitchen window under a tree. And to me, things like this mean a lot, you know, when I'm in a hurt state and I'm asking, do the buffalo even know that we do anything? And one appears when they're supposed to be back into the park. That is a message to me, and it sent a very happy gift to my heart. But then, unfortunately, the story started to unfold. And I looked up on the hill where the buffalo had come down from, and I started to see all these police cars show up. First on the scene was Montana Department of Livestock. Second on the scene in his own vehicle was Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. And last on the scene in his own car was the Gallatin County Sheriff. Well, they huddled up there, and then they drove back down the road, and the fish and game officer, who I'm quite good friends with, Jim Smolzinski, drives up our driveway. Well, knowing I didn't want him to see this buffalo in my backyard, I went down and greeted him. And I said, "Hey, Jim, what's up?" And he looked me in the eye and he said, "Mike, have you seen a rogue bull buffalo around here?" I said, "Why, Jim? What's going on?" He said, "Well, you know that woman up on the hill, and I don't really know that woman, but most of us in the community know her little Chihuahua dog. And this Chihuahua dog had a serious case of a Napoleon complex and attacked anything that's bigger than it, which is about everything. And in the naivety of this little Chihuahua, he dared to take on a 2,000-pound bull buffalo. Well, in the process, he was learned how to fly. Now, for those of you Chihuahua lovers out there, I want you to know this animal was a little scrapped up and got a few cuts and bruises, but mainly it was more of a humbling that occurred. So Jim says, "Well, Mike, have you seen this rogue bull buffalo?" And I said, "Yeah, Jim. He came right through our yard and he kept on heading down valley, and if you go down there, you just might find him." So he went back and joined the rest of the police force, and they were driving around every neighborhood in the community, driving into their backyards, peeking through their windows, looking for this rogue buffalo. This went on for about 2 hours. Finally, when I saw them drive back towards town, not 5 minutes later, this big bull buffalo got up, walked out to my front yard, left me a little present to remember him by out the back end, and proceeded to migrate down valley where I had said he'd gone. Well, the 4th of July, my blood family comes up to visit, and we celebrate the 4th of July parade. We blow up the buffaloon and have a float and try and teach people that protecting buffalo is patriotic too. So they started to arrive, and as they arrived, the buffalo started walking back right across our yard, right up the hill to where said Chihuahua incident occurred. Well, I grabbed my video camera, my nieces and nephews behind me. I looked like Mama Duckling running up there to make sure that this buffalo was not going to get shot on our watch. We waited until the sun went down. And we knew once the sun was down, no matter how crazy these people are, they're not going to shoot a high-powered rifle in a housing area. So the next morning came, and we knew something was up, and we went to look for our friend the buffalo. And he had migrated 1.5 miles down to a place called Red Canyon. And out there in the field trying to chase him was Montana Department of Livestock on the ATV, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks on their horse, and they're trying to push this buffalo around Red Canyon so no one can see as they euthanized or killed this poor being. Well, the buffalo was having none of it that day. He ran between the horse and the ATV and kept running. He ran across Highway 287 and kept running. He ran through the Holiday RV parking lot and disturbed some picnickers and kept on running. Jumped into Hebken Lake, swam across, ran up Horse Butte, and has never been seen again to this day. And that, my friends, is a true buffalo story. Woo! Thank you, Mignon. Stories are so much better when accompanied by beautiful Mignon. So the last thing I want to get into is the gift that the buffalo try to teach us about leadership. In the buffalo world, they have leaders, the lead moms, the head bulls. But their leaders are tasked with the chore of taking care of everyone in the herd. Because in a buffalo world, everyone is just as important as each other. And that their task is to make sure that everyone in the herd survives, because they all count just as much as each other. In the winter, we witness them walk through deep 4 or 5 feet snows, and they walk through it in single file. And the lead buffalo doing all the work, pounding through it. When he or she gets tired, they step to the side. They allow the whole group to walk in front of them. Then he or she jumps in the end, where all the work has been done and the easiness is done. And so these animals share the burden of survival together. They work together for the benefit of all. And then, of course, the lucky elk and all the other deer, they use these trails through the thick snow, so they make sure the entire ecosystem survives. Another thing that we see is that these buffalo have feelings and prayers and ceremonies just like we do. We watch in the fields when buffalo get shot. And before the hunters can get anywhere near those buffalo, the group of buffalo will go around that are still alive and form a circle. First, they'll try and lift their brother or sister up with their horns. Realizing their past, they'll stand there and hold a ceremony saying goodbye to their brothers and sisters. I think these gifts that they teach us are in so much need in today's world. My goodness, our leadership right now doesn't believe in science, doesn't believe global warming is a real problem. What kind of insane people are these? These are old white men that will be dead when the consequence of their ignorance comes to pass, and our children will be left with this horrible future. So we all need to stand in the streets. We need to jump up and down. We need to raise a ruckus and change this ignorant way of life. We have people out on the streets right now, and I honor you all. People that work in social work, animals. All of us are interconnected. As I told you before, these buffalo were killed as an act of racism, as an act of genocide to wipe out the Native Americans. This is all interconnected. And if we allow this 1%, we must remember what the Occupy movement taught us. We are the 99%. And it's time for the 99% to stand up and take over this 1% and take back this world so that we will leave something sacred and good for our children, because that is our job in life, to perpetuate the good and leave it for our children. And when you work for magic things like this, when you work for something that isn't for your own selfish greed, that isn't for your own benefit, there's a magic that follows you and takes care of you. Animals trust you. Things that you never thought would happen become regular life. So be the change you want to see. Don't let people tell you you can't do something. I am nobody special. And I've produced this with the help of so many others. You have that power in you. So get off your butts, get out there and create this change, because no one's going to do it but us. And remember, when you do this work, the magic will follow you and protect you through life. Thank you. Oh, it's okay. Oh.